Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Karinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtaradam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Sarvannuti Bhikvidakalanam Om Sri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Om Vrashabham Darshaninam Vishvarupamadapitam Brahaspatim Varenyam Om Tatvishno Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya Divi Vachakshuratatam Om Aim Hrim Shrim Hrim Hasav Jagat Prasudhyay Namaha. Everybody say after me, Hare Rama Krishna 3 times. Om Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna. Okay, we will continue Narayana Dasha today also. Because I don't have any specific example, if any of you volunteer any charts, I'll come to yours later. But I think Vijay had a tricky chart from last class.
I can't.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that first.
Okay, the data.
So can you give me the data?
Yeah, January 11th.
January 11th,
1978. 12:23 p.m.
12:23 p.m.
This is 71.
What is the place?
Methuen.
Which one?
Right.
Is that the right spelling?
Methuen.
Okay.
PM.
Methuen is the city on the border of
Yeah.
right?
Haverhill
and Andover, that area. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What is the name?
It's column AS.
AS. Okay. AS. Vijay Chitra Sticky Chart. The data is January 11, 1978, 12:23 p.m. The time zone is 5 hours west of GMT, Eastern Standard Time. The place is Methuen, Massachusetts, USA, 71 degrees, 11 minutes, 29 seconds west, 42 degrees, 43 minutes, 34 seconds north. And the chart has Aries rising, 26 degrees Aries rising, and moon in the 4th degree of Aquarius. Okay. So, we will take this chart as an example today and look at Narayana Dasha. Which Narayana Dasha are you interested in? Rasi or Navamsha or Dasamsha?
So Rasi, and if you are more concentrated on the education part of it. I know what's going on in the background of this
Okay.
person.
So, you are basically interested in the education of this person.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Vijay said that he is interested in the education of this person, and if you want to know about the education, either you can use Rasi Narayana Dasha, or if you want further clarity, assuming that you know the Lagna in D24 accurately, then D24 Narayana Dasha will be the right Dasha to use. So one of the two. And because we haven't really rectified this particular chart, we will look for broad readings using the Rasi chart for now. So let us use Rasi Narayana Dasha. Can everybody read the numbers? Okay, good. This is Navamsha by default. Go to Rashi. Okay. So these are the Narayana Dasha calculations. And I want the class to help me on this particular example.
You wanted to look at D24 and
No. I said that if I look at the D24 Narayana Dasha, the calculation of it is not going to change if the time changes a little bit. But the interpretation of it is going to change. Which Dasha will give what results, that depends on where the Lagna is in D24. And because we haven't rectified this particular chart, we don't have any events to rectify. So I decided that I will just stick to the Rasi chart for now. And then look at the Rasi Narayana Dasha. We will only get broad readings. if you go to the corresponding divisional chart, you will get very precise readings. But here we will get a broad idea of what's going on, whether things are going well or not so well. So I want you guys
I
to
know that things are not going well in this case, but I don't want to talk about it last. And we want to, his mother came and asked that what can be done to improve the situation.
Okay.
That's the reason.
Okay. Actually, yeah. Let's. I wanted to see if the class can get actually what's going on, and then you can get feedback. Okay. So, if you focus on the dasha, see, he was at a dasha change recently. Until 2005 March 12, which is basically until a week back, he was running a different dasha. Now his dasha has changed. For the next 8 years, he is going to run a different dasha. What I want you to do is, let's focus on the coming dasha a little later. First, let's focus on the dasha that's just now over, the last 8 years. And look at this dasha, and particularly focus on the last 1/3, because that is the last few years. What are the influences? Do you expect good results or bad results? So let us do that systematically. Now first, I need somebody to volunteer. You.
I'm not of
Oh, okay. Pardon me.
Okay.
That's okay. You are excused for this class only.
Okay.
Pardon me. Pardon me.
Okay.
So, Leo Dasha. If we divide the Dasha into 3 parts, which 1/3 will give which result?
Okay. Sign is Srishodaya sign.
Srishodaya Rasi. Leo is a Srishodaya Rasi.
Sign gets first preference.
So, always sign gets first preference, but because it's Srishodaya Rasi, it prefers to give its results at the beginning itself.
Okay. First 1/3 is for the
First
sign.
1/3 is Leo itself.
And
The results of Leo.
Lord, Sun is.
Yeah.
That's why I think the chart is different. We might have different setups.
Okay. One second.
We got different.
You got different chart?
Yeah.
Different time.
Leo it starts at 98 2006.
Leo starts at
98 2000.
January.
98 January. Hey, what is going on here? Oh gosh, I was experimenting with something. This is wrong. Thank you.
What is it?
All the stuff.
That's your preference.
Yeah. I was experimenting with 360 for some other purpose.
Okay.
But that's wrong. This is the right one. Okay.
Okay.
So he's not really at a crossroads. He's not really at the Dasha change. So since 98 to 2006, he's running Leo Dasha. Okay. Now let's continue the discussion.
So it's still the same.
Yeah. The first 1/3 will be the results of Leo itself.
And the second 1/3, okay. Then the Lord of that sign is in Sagittarius.
Lord of that sign, who is he?
Sun.
He is in Sagittarius. Is the Srishodaya? Okay, your part is over. Now Vijay, is it Srishodaya or Prishchodaya? The sign that contains the Lord of Leo, Sun. Sun is in Sagittarius. Is Sagittarius Srishodaya or Prishchodaya? It's a Prishchodaya Rasi. And just to refresh, most of you already know, but just to refresh, I will list them again. Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Sagittarius and Capricorn. These are the Prishchodaya Rasi. And Pisces is Ubhyodaya Rasi. All other signs are Srishodaya. So after you practice a little bit, this should be something part of your common sense. When you look at a sign, you should immediately know this is Srishodaya, this is Prishchodaya, because that is very, very crucial. Now, Sun is in Prishchodaya Rasi, so when will Sun give his result, Vijay? Towards the end or in the middle? See, first 1/3 is already taken by Leo. Second 1/3 and third 1/3 are left. Which one will Sun take? He will take the third 1/3 because he is in Prishchodaya Rasi. He wants to give his results as late as possible. Now, so who will give the results in the middle 1/3? The planets occupying Leo and the planets aspecting it. Who is occupying Leo? Saturn. Anybody having Rasi Drishti on that sign? Libra, Capricorn, Aries. Those 3 signs that aspect Leo are empty. And if you want to see the signs that are aspected by a sign, in case if it's dual, it will be all other dual signs that are aspecting it. If it is not dual, see the adjacent sign and take quadrants from it. That's the thumb rule. So for Leo, it is Cancer, the adjacent sign. Take the quadrants from it. Libra, Capricorn and Aries. These 3 signs will aspect it.
Have this be also one come into play at all?
No.
It doesn't get any.
No.
Only the Rasi is
Yes.
This is a permanent influence.
Yes. Not exactly because it's permanent influence, because that permanent influence, when it peaks out, we are looking here.
Correct.
Right.
But only because it's a part of the permanent influence.
Yes, that is why we are looking at it. And if you see a Graha Drishti on the sign, that's basically the planet's desire. And that may also give its result. We are not looking at that right now. For that, you have to see when that planet, either the sign containing that planet or a sign that the planet has a role in, when that gets a role, then it may give its result. But that's more tricky, so we are not bothering about it. Right now, we are focusing on all the influences that are stationary throughout life, and we are seeing when each influence will peak out. Even though every influence is there every time, all the time, there is certain time when it peaks out. So we are looking for those peaks. That's basically what we are doing. So the middle 1/3 is completely governed by Saturn. From 2000 September till 2003 May. This 2.5 or almost 3-year period was completely governed by Saturn. Now, is Saturn's situation in the 5th house good for education or bad for education?
Bad. Not good.
I mean, he said that things are not going well. It's Saturn. Saturn is not, he is the planet of delay, he is the planet of laziness, he is the planet of inaction. So, his situation, and also his balance.
It also gives the hard work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we taking Saturn?
Sorry?
We are talking about the last
Middle one. Middle 1/3 where occupants or aspectors will give their results. And we saw that Saturn is the only one. So he has the whole period to himself. And for example, if you want to go systematically, the first 1/4 of Saturn period, what results will Saturn give? See, Saturn has these 4 antardasas to give his results in. So if you divide that into 4 parts, we have another set of rules. Is Saturn a benefic or malefic? Malefic. Because he is malefic, first 1/4 will be? Yes, it's state. Avastha is basically state.
No, but Avastha is not the first one. First you give the
That is what?
house you own.
No,
That is the benefit plan.
you are wrong. No, not even for malefic. He is wrong for everything. Wrong for everything. See, for malefic, first 1/4 will be state, the avastha. Second 1/4 will be yoga. Third 1/4 will be
Houses you
owned houses. Last 1/4 will be occupied houses. For benefits, it is the reverse.
But that's for the Lord of the sign, right?
Even for aspecting planets. Any planet, when it has to give, when it controls basically a period of the Mahadasha, a sub-period where it's going to give its results. These rules basically apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
The nature of the planet.
And based on the nature of the planet, it will go from the beginning of the task list to the end, or from the end to the beginning. Or it has a different task list. If you tell Jupiter, his task list will be wherever I am present, things should be nice. That is the top of the task list. If you tell Saturn, his task list is I want to feel good wherever I am. So that is at the beginning of his task list. So the task lists are basically different, arranged in a different order. So the first 1/4 is Saturn. He will not give good results because is he in a good state?
No, he's actually an enemy and retrograde.
He is close to his exaltation point. Subala is there, but he is in a terrible enemy's place. He would like to be in anybody's house except sons, except his father. He hates his father. He wants to leave his father and be somewhere else. With Rahu, he is happy. With Ketu, he is happy. Not with his father. So Saturn hates sun. And
sorry, it's the opposite in the same. When Sun is in Saturn's house, will it be as bad as Saturn in...
it's better than Saturn being in Sun's house, because Saturn is really pissed off being in Sun's house. If Sun is in Saturn's house, he doesn't like it, but he's okay with it, but Saturn doesn't like it. So Sun doesn't have the cooperation of his dispositor when he is in Saturn's house. Basically it's like, suppose one father and son hate each other. Actually, father has some love, but let's say son hates the father. And when father goes and stays with the son, he will still not be that bad, but he will not be able to function well because his son will be hampering anything that he does. But when the son goes to his father's house, he is waiting for the moment he leaves. His mother says, okay, now you can leave. He's waiting for that particular moment.
Yes, in this case, he's also Vakri, retrograde.
Yeah, he's retrograde.
So, what is it mean? Stubbornness, rigidness?
To make it work more hard.
If Saturn is retrograde, basically, I mean, I'm not talking about this dasha, but in general, Saturn is representing some strong desires from the past life. Some strong desires and strong karma. That planet is carrying strong karma. Whatever that particular planet shows, it comes with a lot of hard work. Even if Jupiter is retrograde, for example, in my horoscope, Jupiter is retrograde in the second house. So what that shows is there is some strong desire, strong leftover karma from the past life relating to some Jupiterian matter. And it does not come easy. It comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of effort. But if a planet is retrograde in that particular area, the person will be able to put a lot of effort because it has to do with the karma. It has to do with some strong desire from the past life. So the person will have to work hard, but he will be willing to work hard in that particular matter. So here, as far as Saturn is concerned, I mean, if we look at D60, then it will become more clear. But there is something definitely that Saturn is showing, which is some strong leftover karma from the past life. Something that must be taken care of in this life. Actually, there are 3 planets in retrogression.
Yeah.
In this particular
Fourth
chart.
house, third house.
Yeah. Third, fourth, and fifth. 3 planets. And the sorry?
This is sannyas. This is giving up.
Well, and he may have to work hard. Basically, what the shows is he has to work hard in those areas.
Yes,
Third,
strong
fourth, and
desires
fifth
and all
areas. There is some strong leftover karma, strong desire, but things will not be given easily to him. He has to struggle to basically get those particular areas. But Mars, retrogression of Mars here is a good feature. As far as Mars is concerned, it is good because
it's in Cancer, right?
yes, he is debilitated. If a planet is debilitated and retrograde, it's basically Uchabhanga, Nichabhanga Rajoga, unless he is in exalted Navamsa, which he isn't. If the planet is retrograde, but in exaltation in Navamsa, and then he is retrograde, it's not supposed to be so good. But that's the only exception. Otherwise, if the planet is not exalted in Navamsa, then retrogression of a debilitated planet is a blessing. It's a Nichabhanga Rajoga. So as far as Lagna Lord is concerned, Lagna Lord Mars, he has Rajoga. So that is good. That is the blessing. But both Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde. But anyway, let us come back to the main point that we were pursuing. The very first Antardasha is not so good. Saturn will not give good results. He will give the results of a planet occupying the 5th house. 5th house is the house of ability. And he is occupying the house of ability and he is spoiling it by occupying it, being Bharata and also being Saturn. He is spoiling that house and he is in a very bad mood. So basically, as far as education is concerned, it's not such a, or not just education, abilities and using the abilities is concerned. Yeah, he is born in 1978, so you don't have to talk about children. But any 5th house matters. Basically, you cannot expect good results during the first 1/4. And the second 1/4? What will you say about the second 1/4? The yogas he has. Does he have any good yogas? Yeah. Right. But right. There is. But
Saturn yogas only we should consider.
right. But Saturn is taking part in it, but he is not really an important planet in the yoga. He is not at the beginning or end of the yoga. So that yoga is unlikely to function during this period.
But even if you analyze the Graham give a quick thing is for my information. Starting from Jupiter,
Yeah.
which is good Vedic knowledge is Rahu or materialism at the end of it.
It doesn't have to be Vedic knowledge, but Jupiter is the 9th Lord and 12th Lord, so it has to do with some kind of dharma.
So from good dharma is going into Rahu or materialism.
Yeah.
So that's the interpretation is correct?
Right, but what does Rahu mean there? Rahu is in the 6th house.
Oh, this is actually good.
And Jupiter is in the 3rd house. Jupiter is in Manakaraka Sthana. The 9th Lord is in Manakaraka Sthana.
So dharma is in Manu.
So the Grahamalika starts with some kind of compromise in dharma, and then it will end with Rahu in the 6th, which is material victory. So is it an auspicious Grahamalika yoga? Not really. Not really.
Valid Grahamalika because Rahu is
That is true. That is true. Rahu is Rahu who is completing the Grahamalika yoga. we normally consider that other planets should form this yoga.
When you spoke about Brahmanka yoga in the past one,
Yeah.
you said that if there are nodes, then it's not a Brahmanka yoga.
Well, right. That is the strict interpretation.
Okay.
That is the strictest interpretation. But even if you consider otherwise, it's not really an auspicious yoga. And actually, what I said is not that nodes should not be there. There can be nodes in one of those signs. Either the starting sign or end sign or the middle sign. Nodes can be there. But the issue is, it should not be only node that is present in that sign. If there is another planet along with node, then Grahamalika is still there. In other words, if you don't consider nodes and look at all other planets, still there should be continuous planets placed in continuous.
But in this case, Rahu is alone there, right?
Rahu is alone. So basically you have only 3 signs
So it's not
that are planets. So it's not exactly Grahamalika yoga. It is not. Okay. Now, is Saturn taking part in any yoga? Not really. He has Chandra, there is Chandra, Shashi Shani yoga. Chandra Shani yoga is there. The moon and Shani. Not exactly. It can give those kind of thinking. Basically, mind is influenced by Shani. If Chandra and Shani are together, are aspecting each other,
And actually, Saturn's house.
yeah, moon is in Saturn's house. So there is strong influence of Shani on moon. And Shani shows giving up. Provided there are other combinations also. This can, like he said, does it make one renunciate? And does it take one towards renunciation? There are other combinations based on Avamsa also. If they hold, then it can give sannyasa. But here it's not sannyasa, but something like that. Which is basically giving up, not really working hard. Not being interested, basically. Being disinterested, all those. That's the only special result that Shani can give as a part of his yoga. If you look at the next, the third quarter of Shani's period, 2002, this period, Shani will give the results of the houses he wants, 10th and 11th houses. The Lord of 10th and 11th houses coming into the 5th house. So, that is actually not so bad. So, relatively throughout that, the roughly 3 year period, this is relatively better period because he brings the results of being the 10th and 11th Lord coming into 5th house. He is Badhaka Lord also. So, he will give the result of being the Badhaka Lord also. So, it will not be a smooth period, but 10th Lord being in the 5th house can give some kind of achievement, some kind of doing well. So, this is relatively, if his mother came to you before this period and asked you when it will be good, you can say that relatively this period has some chance of success. So this is the only period. But if you look at the next period again, that is terrible. Because Shani will finally give the result of being in the 5th house. And being in the 5th house, Shani will destroy the 5th house. He will give the image of somebody who doesn't know anything. Because 5th house is ability. And Jupiter there will give you ability. Shani there will not give you any good abilities. You will have to basically work hard. So this 1/4 again is bad. So overall, let's conclude that the middle 1/4 is not so good. Sorry, middle 1/3 is not so good. The first 1/3 may not actually have been bad because this is the 5th house from Lagna. The first 1/3, 98 to 2000 may not have been that bad. But from 2000 September till 2003 May is quite bad. That is pure Shani results. Then the last 1/3 started in 2003 May and it will go on till 2006 January. Now, this is the period that this person is running right now. Let us focus on this. Whose results we said will be given in this period? The Lord Sun. Sun is the 5th Lord and he will give those results. Now, let us look at Sun. Is he a benefic or a malefic?
5th house, Lord in 8th house, not that good.
No, I'm talking about natural benefic or malefic because I want to see who
Malefic.
He's malefic. He's a Pavagraha. Now, for a malefic, the first quarter will be Avastha. What is the state of Sun here?
Jupiter's house.
He is in friend's house. Being aspected by that friend Jupiter. So, as far as placement is concerned, he is fine. And as far as Uchbala is concerned, he doesn't have strong Uchbala. He is close to his debilitation point rather than his exaltation point. So he's not excited there, but he's in a good place basically. He's in a comfortable place, but not too excited about it. So that is what you conclude about the overall state of sun. And you can look at other Chainari Avastha, etc. also. Let us do that just to get a better sense. He's in Netrapani Amsha. Okay.
What are you looking at there?
Chainari Avastha. Strength tab, other strength sub tab.
And pick instead of Vinsapar Bola, Chainari. Basic Avastha. Sun is Mruta.
Okay.
The basic.
Sun is Mruta. In Mruta Avastha, he is dreaming, he is sad. If you are dead, you are sad.
Why did I get different suggestions?
Why did you get what?
Sun is not in Mritavastha for me.
No.
You get,
right click on that.
you get Visilipsa Avastha?
Yeah.
That is Chainari Avastha. See, there are, if you click the right mouse button on it, you will see these menus. Vimshopaka Bala, Amsha Bala, or Vaisheshika Amsha, Basic Avastha, Chainari Avastha. There are various kinds of states, and basic avasthas are, they show in terms of age what is the state. Is the planet young and raring to go, or old and relaxed, or dead, or just born? This is based on the age. And the common wisdom is a planet who's in, let's say, Yuvavastha, young age. That planet will give its results fully. What Parasa says is, if the planet is Yuvavastha, the results are fully given. If it is in Kumara Avastha, that means adolescence, so not fully, only partially given. If it is Balavastha, infant, then the results are even less, because just born, so doesn't know anything. And similarly, if the planet is in Vruddhavastha, no planet is Vruddhavastha here, but after Yuvavastha, there are 5 avasthas. Bala, infant, then Kumara, adolescent, then Yuva, young and raring to go, and 4th one is Vruddha. Vruddha means old, and the last one is Mrata, that means dead. And basically, first state is the weakest, second is stronger, third is the strongest, then again it goes down. So it's like basically less, better, much better, again better, and then less. So there are 3 levels, and these 5 states will give the results. But the thing is, this is only a guideline. You can't use it as a principle that works 100% of the time, because somebody can be very young, but somebody can be a child, but he may be genius, and somebody may be at the age of 90, but he may be in good state physically and mentally. And there are people who are 90 years old and who are extremely mentally and physically also very agile. So this is just a guideline. And then this alertness is basically, there are 3 states here. One is Jagrata, which means awake. The other is Swapna, which means dreaming. The last one is Sushupta, which means asleep. These are the 3 states. If a planet is sleeping, Sushupta-avastha, then it doesn't give any results. That is what Parasa says. So the results are 0. If it is Swapna-avastha, which means dreaming, it will give half the result. If it is Jagrata, then it will give full results. But again, this is just a guideline. Somebody may be very efficient when he is sleeping, or when he is dreaming, and when he is awake, he may spoil everything. So you should take it with a pinch of salt. It's not really absolute. It's not an absolute principle.
So in this case, if the Saturn is in the...
No, we are looking at Sun now. Sun.
Yeah, okay.
Sun is in Mritavastha. He is dead. He is dreaming. And he is sad. I think he is dreaming of being dead and he is sad because of that. But bottom line is, he doesn't have strong avastha bala.
Yeah.
And there is another avastha, Chainadi avastha. This is actually more important than the other one.
Yeah.
This avastha is the Richalipsa avastha. What does it mean? Desirous of dancing. That's a good state. In general, Richalipsa avastha is a good state. What that means is that planet is very excited and it wants to do something. If you want to dance, basically that means you are in a good mood and you want to do something. You are very active, basically. That's what it means. So, Sun, whatever results that Sun promises to give in this chart, he really wants to give those results. That is the state of Sun. So overall, as far as Avasthabala is concerned, we can conclude that he is in a good Sainadi Avastha, even though his overall basic state is not good. The state relating to activity is good, and even though he doesn't have good Uchabala, he has good Sthanabala, he is in a friend's place. So overall, he is okay. He is not really very strong by any means, but he is okay. And what will you, when is that period? 2003 May till 2004 January. So this period is not so bad. Relatively, this period is actually quite fine. He will give the result of being in friendly house. Then 2004 January to September. What can you say about this period? This is the period when he will give the results of his yogas. Does Sun have any yogas? Sun is Atmakaraka, Venus Amartyakaraka, Mercury Gnadkaraka. Okay. So Karakas we looked at. So any yoga and also longitudes. Sun is at 27 degrees, Venus is at 25 degrees, Mercury is at 4 degrees. So does Sun have any yoga? Yeah.
The direction is the 5th and 7th Lord Yoga.
Yeah. 5th Lord Sun and 7th Lord Venus are together. So there is a Raj Yoga being given by Sun and Venus. But is that a good Raj Yoga or a very uncomfortable Raj Yoga? It's a very uncomfortable Raj Yoga, because if a yoga is given by Venus and Mercury, good. Venus and Saturn, good. Sun and Mars, good. Sun and Jupiter, good. But if a yoga is given by Sun and Venus, they are basically enemies. So in other words, Sun being with Venus, he will cause the combustion of Venus. If he is too close to Venus, he basically causes Venus to be weak. So this particular yoga, they are extremely close. That's why I am saying Mercury. If Sun and Mercury were close, that's why I looked at longitude. If Venus was far away, and let's say Sun and Mercury were close, it would have been good. Even though they are 5th and 6th lords. Actually 5th and 6th lord conjunction is also a yoga. I think Sankhya yoga or some yoga. Even though in general we say quadrant and trine lords, their conjunction is a good yoga. There are other yogas as well. 5th and 6th lord conjunction, I think is Sankhya yoga, I believe. Yeah. Look in the software. Sankhya yoga, yeah. I believe so, yeah. So that is a good yoga. Why? 5th house is the house of ability, and 6th house is the house of conquering enemies, overcoming obstacles. So if those lords are together, you are using your ability to overcome the obstacles. So it's a good yoga. 5th and 6th lord being together is a good yoga. But unfortunately, those two planets, Sun and Mercury, are very far apart. So that Raj Yoga does not give its full results. On the other hand, the planet who is close to Sun is his enemy, Venus. They are like 1.5 degrees apart. So what you can conclude is, during the 1/4 where Sun will give the results of his yoga, basically the result will be, it may benefit the 5th house, but it has something to do with 7th house. It will pull the 7th house down. Why? Because 7th Lord Venus is being afflicted by Sun. 7th Lord Venus is being weakened by the presence of Sun there. So relating to Venus matters, or desires, girlfriends, etc., or relating to 7th house matters, again dealing with other people in the class or any relationships, or even girlfriends and marriage, etc. Is it boy or girl? Boy, okay. So girlfriend is right, okay. Suddenly I realized it could be boyfriend. So there could be some issues with girlfriends, there could be some issues with relationships. So that is the result that Sun will give. Sun is also the 5th lord of emotions. So 5th lord and 7th lord together can mean, because Venus is also involved there, the conjunction of 5th and 7th lord could mean falling in love or something relating to emotions. But again, this is a very uncomfortable Raj Yoga where Venus is totally being weakened. So because 7th lord is being weakened, there can be some problems relating to relationship also during this period. So if he is, for example, thinking of getting married or something during this period, if he comes to you before this period, when you see a period like this, you should advise them to take it easy, because if he falls in love or if they are looking for a match during this period, it will result in heartbreak or it will result in upsets rather than a good culmination. So Such periods are not very auspicious for such activity.
The truth is that yoga is they're always simplifying. Combustion of Venus is effective. Of course, in this case, you're saying that Narayana is triggering at a peak.
Right.
The truth is it's always there.
It is always there, but during that period, it will give its result more.
It will bring
the result more.
attention of that.
Yeah. Basically, the result will peak during 2004.
But it may be, let's say, even in the future, though.
Yeah.
Let's see, once we have development, what is a good time to if Sun and Venus is always being compressed.
Yeah.
the effect is always
Then you can look at where is VS7, where is UL.
Parapada.
UL, look at UL. For example, UL is very strong here. UL is in Gemini with Jupiter there. That is a really saving factor. Even though Jupiter's agenda there is actually to break the marriage, not keep the marriage intact, because he's the seventh lord. He's the lord of a very strong seventh house from Upada. Still he is Jupiter. So
Will be more.
if you want to look at when he will get married, look at Jupiter, look at Mercury. Mercury is the lord of that. Oh, actually there is a parivartana between Mercury and Jupiter. So that is good. So Jupiter will actually act as if he is basically there. So he will act as the Upada lord placed in Upada. So Jupiter and Mercury are the planets who will bring the marriage. So when the corresponding dasha comes, then you can
much better.
yeah, you can say that then the marriage will happen. But as far as Venus is concerned, he will not bring the marriage, but he will bring a relationship that won't succeed, or a relationship that will give him a lot of heartburn. Now, the period that is running right now, the third 1/4, what results are given by Sun then? The houses he owns. So Sun will give the result of fifth house, fifth lord, being fifth lord. Yes, Kiran.
Now, won't there be another yoga
Between Sun and Jupiter?
Yeah.
Yes, there will be. But again, Mercury is so far away, so I am not concentrating on Sun and Mercury aspect there. Okay? Yes, there is a yoga between Sun and Jupiter. Okay. The Antardasha, the period that is running right now will give the results of Sun being the fifth lord, the house that he owns. So what results will Sun give as the fifth lord? Yeah.
Emotions, ability.
The fact is the fact that Mercury, although is far, is there with him. That's good because Buddha is yoga.
Yeah.
So his ability should shine.
Yeah. So is this a good, the period that is running right now, is it a good period for actually putting the abilities to use?
Yes.
And getting some recognition, putting the abilities to use, and see previously, in the previous 1/3, because Saturn gave the result, the abilities may be there. When Saturn is in the fifth house, but Saturn will slow down those abilities. The abilities will not be sharp, the abilities will become blunt during such a period. That is what Saturn does. But when Sun as the fifth lord is allowed to shine, he will facilitate the sharpening of the abilities. Because fifth lord's agenda is to promote the fifth house. And fifth house is abilities. And Sun will want to promote those abilities, want to sharpen those abilities. So this is a period when he will be looking for new abilities, putting the abilities to use, and looking at having a resume, having some qualifications, increasing his qualifications, increasing his scholarship, and looking for some recognition of those abilities. So that is the period that is running right now. So if the mother is concerned that he is not doing well, and if they have different paths before them and they want to decide the right path, what is right for him, either in terms of education or in terms of career or in terms of whatever. If they are looking for changes or looking for advice, this is a very auspicious time. This is the period when the process of sharpening his abilities will stop. So this is a very auspicious period actually.
It is almost like 2 more months.
Yeah, 2 more months. But what do you see from the next period? The period that will start in May, on May 11 and go on till January 11.
What's the agenda of the 8th house?
9th house.
9th house. It will give the results of being in 9th house from Lagna, being in 6th house from Aruha Lagna. What are the results of that? Sun in the 9th house, what does it mean? Dharma, following the wishes of father and mother. If Sun is in 9th house, you will follow the wishes of your parents. So in the past there could be some friction with following what parents said, and during this period, after May, he is more likely to listen to parents.
Also, if you look at the 9th house, there's so many times. I mean, the father is very strong, or what do you say about the father?
If you want to say something about father, if you look at the 9th house, is he going to show father, or is he going to show guru, is he going to show dharma, is he going to show fortune? That is, right, you can say overall, but which one? Are all of them interconnected? One may have, one's father may be dead, but his guru may be, he may have an excellent guru. He may be very dharmic. I mean, how can you look at just Rashi chart and conclude about all those things?
No, you can't conclusively say, but you got to go to the
If you can't conclusively say, then don't say it. It's so simple. So, in other words, the 9th lord is very important because that is the guidance you are getting in your life. So, that guidance may be through father, it may be through guru, it may be through something else. It may be through Mahalakshmi who gave you great fortune. That fortune may be the guiding light in your life. So, the guidance and the protection that you enjoy in life, it may be coming from different sources. Looking at this 9th house in Rashi chart, all you can say is physically, he will have good fortune, he will be protected. He will have good guidance in life. There is no problem for finding the direction in life and in general having that fortune. That is all you can say. If you want to say anything from about father from that, you are not doing it right. If you say, I will see approximately from Rashi about father, and then I will conclude from the Dvadas. What do you mean? What if this shows father is an electrical engineer and that shows father is a doctor? Which one is right? If that is more right, then why don't you directly go to that instead of wasting your time here? So my advice is, Rashi chart is, people put a lot of stress on Rashi chart, but they are kind of trying to see everything in it. And when you look at a cloud in the sky, somebody may see a man's face there, somebody may see a horse there, somebody may see a Shivalinga there, you can see anything. Like that, when you are trying to see things from the Rashi chart, everything from Rashi chart, it's like looking at cloud and trying to see what it is, in my honest opinion. I'm not saying this is not important. If you look at Dvadashamsa, if you see Dvadashamsa, if you see the 9th house there, take it as Lagna and conclude things about father, it will only tell you who the father is. Father may be a great scientist, but what is the father doing to you? What is the father's impact on your life? What is his protection? What is the protection he is giving you? If you want good understanding of that, your physical existence, the father's impact on your physical existence, you can't conclude it without looking at Rashi chart. The 9th house in the Rashi chart is the protection that I am getting physically, the physical protection I am getting. And then if you look at the strength of that Lord in the Dvadashamsa, you can see whether my parents are giving me good protection or not. So there are links between divisional charts and Rashi chart by virtue of the laws of various houses. You see the strength of various house laws in the various divisional charts, and you get an idea. That is the connection between divisional charts and Rashi charts. But if you want to see something about father, don't waste your time in Rashi. Don't look at, you may be tempted to look at 9th house. In some cases, you may even find good correlations, but it's just a matter of luck. There is no science there. It's an art. It's basically looking at clouds and deducing what shapes they are. So if you want to practice the science of astrology, just go to Dvadashamsa. So if you go to D12, now I'll be very happy if somebody guesses. Assuming that this time is right, let us see how much accuracy we have. 4 minutes, 4 minutes 23 seconds, 2 minutes 51 seconds. That's the window of opportunity we have. As long as the error is less than 2 minutes 20 seconds, we are.
It's born here and recorded here in the US.
Well, it doesn't mean anything, but assume that this is right. Assume that this is right. Give your guess. And let's see. Do you know anything about his father actually?
Yeah.
Okay, he does. So he will give you feedback. So take it as a challenge and just do the best job you can.
9th house contains Venus and
Take the 9th house as Lagna. Now, first, what can you say about the basic nature of father from the Lagna?
He's very hardworking girl, Saturn, Venus. That means he's very loving. Also,
Yoga. Yes,
Okay.
yoga.
Okay.
Also, Venus is in own house. So
Yeah, Venus is in one house, Saturn is also in friend's house. So it's a very nice Raj Yoga in Lagna. But
Saturn is exalted.
Libra Lagna, what kind of person will Libra Lagna show in general? Very balanced, very diplomatic kind of person. And Venus in Lagna and Saturn also in Lagna. So Saturn, like you said, very hardworking, but at the same time Venus in Lagna.
But Saturn is also exalted and is retrograde.
He is retrograde, so he gives result.
So it is equivalent of being different.
Yes, yes,
in nature.
yes. So Venus in Lagna, what kind of person will Venus in Lagna show?
love and shame.
Love, enjoyment, pleasures in life.
Happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, happy-go-lucky is more like Mercury. This is not happy-go-lucky, but that is Mercury. Mercury and Moon are happy-go-lucky people. Venus is, sometimes he can be very strict and very unhappy. When he is unhappy about somebody, he makes no bones about it. That is Venus. But Moon and Mercury, they are not never unhappy. They are always carefree, basically. So Moon and Mercury are that. Happy-go-lucky is not exactly a word, but somebody who loves accumulating a lot of nice things in house, lot of luxuries, luxury loving, pleasure loving, has pleasures, but at the same time can work hard. He works hard when he works hard, and when he wants to enjoy and sit back and have fun in life, he's capable of doing that. So that is basically what you can say from Lagna. Now from the
There's also Raja
Keris.
Lagna in
Yes, there is Raj Yoga. Is he spiritual? Is father likely to be spiritual if this time is right?
12th house Ketu is very good.
12th house Ketu, so there will be some spirituality, right? Okay. What else can you say? What kind of career does he have?
That is
Second, 6th and 10th. Look at all the three houses.
Second, Mars and Sun. So
Yeah.
good. 10th house Jupiter was
Both Mars and Rahu, you can definitely say it's an engineer.
Mars.
What type of engineering is something I don't know how to say.
So Kiran guesses he's an engineer. Anybody else with any other guesses?
Because of 10th being Jupiter, he could be in the digital teaching,
Okay, teaching, consulting, kind of.
consulting.
Yeah.
You could also be in law. Jupiter is also law.
Okay.
But the thing is,
He's-
look at
Yeah.
look at the second, it's Mars and Sun.
Yeah.
It's very strong. So if you look at all the three houses, the strongest of the three houses I feel is the second house because of Mars and Sun together and
Yes.
friends.
Okay.
So that means Mars and Sun together could be a government job, and Mars is usually engineering. Can you say that? So
Mars is usually engineering, yes.
So it could be a
But Sun can be a doctor also.
Sun can be a doctor.
Yeah.
So it could be a doctor or an engineer working in government. I don't
Are there any other jobs?
It's not as strong as the Nietzsche. It's dominant of all the three. I think Mars and Sun is the strongest.
Both analytical and
Yeah, Mars and Sun is the strongest.
Do you know some? Yeah, this is all pure guess, right? Nobody knows the person.
no, I don't know.
Okay, good, good,
I,
good.
I think
Yes, nobody else knows. Only
Very
one more
good.
person in this group. Only one more person. That's why I said.
Okay, very good. Okay.
So it's
So those who, okay. Okay, so the guesses we have so far are psychologists. It is a good guess, psychiatrist, because Moon and Jupiter are involved. Jupiter is kind of consulting a higher position, basically a guru kind of position, a learned person kind of position,
Jupiter is
consulting.
weaker than Mars and Sun combo.
Yeah, right. But Moon is also, there is a parivartana between Moon and Jupiter.
Oh, there is.
And
Jupiter is
6th and 10th Lord parivartana. So Moon is basically caring, compassion.
But it's afflicted.
Yeah, he's afflicted with Rahu. So Rahu will show modern kind of
Thinking.
modern thinking, abstract thinking. So that Moon Rahu combination with a parivartana with Jupiter, so whether it is the right answer or not, it's a very good guess. That he's into some kind of psychology. So that's a very good guess. The other guess was, yeah, Mars is basically out of all the three houses there, the second house is very strong with the Lord of the house there itself. And also 11th Lord Sun joins him. 11th Lord shows the gains of the person. So 11th Lord Sun is also joining there. So Sun and Mars combination, and also Rahu being in the 6th house. So your guess is he's an engineer. That is a good guess. So see, normally when we look at Balsamcha, we look at 9th house, we look at the Trikonas, there is only one Trikona that is really strong, It's very easy to guess. But here there are so many influences. But you will get this kind of charts in real life. So you have to negotiate between various factors. So the other guess that we saw was one was engineer, one was psychiatrist, somebody said lawyer. Just because Jupiter is there, even though he's not really that strong. So you may be right, but in terms technically, without knowing the answer, if I just evaluate various options technically, that's the weakest option. Yeah, okay. And what else? Did I miss anything? Nobody said food business, hotel owner. Yeah, moon.
The moon also shows government like bureaucracy.
Not really. Sun does.
Rahu is also in healthcare.
No, he may be in the financial side.
Yeah.
Because according to the Nadi principles, again I am
Yeah,
a beginner there.
Yeah.
But Saturn in the Libra with Venus, with that, Venus is for all this financial side and bank balance.
So you're just looking at Saturn as the karaka for livelihood.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at the planets influencing the karaka. Yeah.
And Jupiter being retrograde, it
Yeah.
can go to, it can aspect the Mercury's house,
Yeah.
right? Gemini. So that also.
Who is aspecting Gemini?
Jupiter can take aspect the next house, the previous house, because being retrograde.
Okay, that's not exactly a principle that I believe.
That's okay.
Some people use it. Yeah.
So because of that, it could just mean that again it points to the financial side, Gemini. So I'm thinking of financial side for now.
I think they've covered all the avenues.
Yeah, we covered everything. So let him tell the answer.
You want me to tell the answer?
Yeah.
He's an engineer.
He's an engineer. So Kiran's guess is right. Mars and
Yeah, he's an engineer.
Mars being dominating.
He was a teacher. He was a professor.
So Jupiter also is covered. Yeah.
So, but he's
What kind of engineer was he?
because of
Rahu?
he's a civil engineer.
Civil engineer.
Okay.
But he worked in the telecom all his life. So.
Okay.
But Rahu will indicate more of telecom and
Rahul. Yeah. Telecom, electronics, all these things are more Mars and Rahu.
into this picture here.
Civil is in general Shani.
But there's no Shani's influence on this.
Well, 4th house and 5th house are Shani houses. So as far as knowledge is concerned, it is related to Shani's field. So he may have learned some civil engineering, but because 4th and 5th lord is Shani. But the work, as far as work is concerned, the 10th lord moon is with Rahu, the 5th lord Rahu, and Mars. Mars is really the strong planet. He is the one, he out of the 3 Artha Trikonas, even though there is a parivartana between 6th and 10th lord, moon and Jupiter, making that also a strong aspect. Mars being in own house basically, that too, like I said, the 11th lord, 11th house shows the gains that you get, and whatever work that you are doing, you are basically doing for some gain. So when you see the 11th lord also joining one of these houses, then that house can be given priority. So Kiran's guess was right, but like I said, that is a good guess, but your guess is also a very good guess. But just based on Dwalshamsa, it's very tough to guess the Kiri, like you have seen in this case, but your guess is a very good guess. With the same, if the same Dashamsa comes in a particular chart, that person could very well be a psychologist. So it's a very good guess.
The other things which you mentioned is he doesn't like the luxury part of it, but he is very strict and
He's
very
very
critical about it.
Critical, okay. That being very strict and critical is something that Shani gives.
Is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Is it Shani also in Mangalakasthana, so what effects would be?
As far as 4th and 5th houses are concerned, there will be some problems. If the 4th lord is in Mangalakasthana, mother may pass away very early, or he may have bad relations with mother, some problem relating to mother, or 5th lord being in Mangalakasthana, so it can be children or something. Abilities. So when that planet's dasha comes, when the planet is able to control the life of father, we are talking about father, Saturn will basically spoil those 2 houses, one of those 2 houses in some way. That's what it shows.
But in this case, that his father is the one died when he was very young. Passed away. Mother is so. Yeah.
Okay.
His father's not
Fourth house could also,
father, right? You are talking
yeah. If the fourth lord is in Manakarka Sthana, it can show mother for passing away early. It can also show, fourth house is not just mother, it is also education. They can be such a person may not learn, for example, if fourth lord is in Manakarka Sthana, the person may not go to school at a young age. And then when he grows old, maybe 3 or 4 years later, he joins school. So there can be problems in the schooling. That is also fourth house. There can be vehicle problems, continuous vehicle problems when the planet Dasha comes. Or it can also be Sukha. Basically, if the fourth lord is in Manakarka Sthana, the person may not have any comfort or happiness or luxuries in life. So Venus, though Venus is strong in Lagna, the fourth lord is in Manakarka Sthana. So you said that he's not really pleasure-loving, luxury-loving kind of person. So that could partly be because Shani is also influencing Venus, and that Shani is in Manakarka Sthana. Being the fourth lord in Manakarka Sthana, that may show not having lot of comforts, etc.
No, he does not that he doesn't, if he has it, he enjoys it, but he doesn't go out of his way to acquire them or anything like that.
Okay.
But what he said is true, is that he didn't have, and it's because his father passed away very young, he didn't have the house, he has to go away to somewhere else to live, to study. But he's
Okay, that is
studying for the house.
Yeah,
fourth house.
fourth house, yeah. But basically the bottom line is, if the fourth lord is in Manakarka Sthana, something relating to fourth house, there is a big setback in life. There is a huge setback relating to one aspect of the fourth house. But others may still be fine. So when you see Saturn in Manakarka Sthana in Lagna, don't be just biased by that one factor. Still Saturn will function as Saturn. There will be some, there is a clear yoga in this chart. The Lagna Lord and fifth Lord together in Lagna, such a person will be very learned, very scholarly, and well recognized for his abilities and his scholarship. So that yoga, you can't take away from that yoga, but there will be some big dissatisfaction in life relating to fourth or fifth house matters.
Also, looking at this chart, you can't say that his father passed away this year. Arthur is a lord of the night.
Ninth lord.
His Pitru Sahama is in Mula. So,
Who's Pitru Sahama?
in this chart.
Yeah, but that is not grandfather. We are talking about grandfather now.
Right.
Grandfather passing away. So, yeah, looking at this, if you want to see when father, see the thing is, if father passed away before this person is born, you can't really use the dashas here. But if you look at the ninth house, the lord of the ninth house is in eighth from it. So there is some problem relating to ninth house. But you can't say that father passed away very early. There is some problem relating to father, that you can see. Because like I said, if you look at the ninth from Libra, Libra is father. If you look at his father, the ninth house, the lord of that house is in the eighth from that house. If you see the lord of any house from the eighth, in the eighth from that house, basically there is some weakness in that house. And if you look at the dashas, of course in this case, grandfather did not pass away, I presume his grandfather did not pass away after he was born, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. But suppose in somebody's case, let's say grandfather passed away after he was born. Then you can look at the Marakasthanas from the house of grandfather, and then you can time it using Jyothishya. But in this case, you can't. But will he be attached to his mother?
Yes.
Anybody wants to guess?
Yes, will be.
Why?
I think Saturn is a lot of the fourth house. And
Fourth Lord Saturn is a friend with Lagna Lord, and he is in Lagna. If you see Lagna Lord in fourth house or fourth Lord in Lagna, usually there is good attachment. I'm not talking about the native, but native's father. Because I'm taking Libra as Lagna, and then fourth Lord Saturn is in Lagna. So this person's father, he will have some attachment to mother.
to his mother.
Yeah, to his mother.
This person child's grandmother.
Yeah. Okay. So let us go back to the Narayana Dasha. So basically after May, a period of 6 months is basically auspicious for understanding his dharma and starting to follow his dharma, because sun will give the result of being in the ninth house, like we said. So as far as dharma is concerned, getting his dharma straight, getting his thinking straight, and following the advice of parents and not being stubborn about it, as far as that is concerned, in case there are any problems in those areas, there will be improvement after May 11. But what will be interesting is this dasha is basically practically over. If you look at the next dasha and give any prognostication, I'll be happy. Yes, sir, Sugar.
When you do Jyothishya, can you apply when you took father's chart?
Yeah.
With Libra Lagna?
Yeah.
Can we apply Narayan Dasha in that?
We'll do that after this.
Okay.
We'll do that. We'll do that. You can do that. There are different kinds of Narayan Dasha. So we'll take two different kinds of Narayan Dasha. One to see relations with parents and one to see what happens to father. So we'll do that as an exercise after we finish this. So let us finish the stream of thought on the Rashi Narayan Dasha. So from 2006 January till 2015 January, he will be running Vargo Dasha. Can somebody say so? Your turn. Yes. So Vargo Dasha, how do you go about analyzing it? Who will give the result in the first 1/3? Is it Shishodaya or Krishodaya? Okay.
So the first 1/3 will be by
The Rashi itself. Okay. Next 1/3 will be?
Next 1/3 will be Lord of Virgo Mercury is with is in the.
Why is the next 1/3 Mercury? Oh, you are deciding it. You didn't say next 1/3 is Mercury.
No, I did not say that.
Okay.
Yeah. Lord of Mercury is in. He's in Capricorn, which is
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Oh, yes, I'm looking at Dwayasa.
Don't look at Vasa, please. Look at Rashi.
Yeah, he's in Sagittarius, which is Sagittarius is a 1, 2, 4, 9, 10.
Yeah.
1, 2, 4, 9, 10.
Very good.
1, 2, 4, 9, he will be Krishodaya.
Yeah.
So because he's Krishodaya, so he will take the last one. So he'll take the third portion.
Yes.
So the
Third portion will be Mercury.
We'll be going for Mercury. So the middle four quarters will be for the Rashi and the Rashi Drishti and the aspects on it.
Rashi Drishti on the sign. And occupants, you mean.
And the occupants.
Yeah. So how many planets are involved? 6. So you can make that into 6 parts. The planets will give their results in the order of their strength. Okay. So now, in general, is it a good dasha or bad dasha? In general, is Vargo dasha good dasha or bad dasha? If you take Vargo as Lagna first of all, because you can take Vargo as Lagna and see how things are. If you take Vargo as Lagna, Rahu is in Lagna. Is not. We are doing the first principles that I taught. If Narayan Dasha starts from Lagna itself, you take the Dasha sign as Lagna. If Narayan Dasha started from the 7th house, you take the 7th house from Dasha sign as Lagna. Here, Narayan Dasha started from Aries. So this is not the progression of 7th house, but this is a progression of 1st house itself. So during Vargo Dasha, Vargo is the 1st house. It is the Lagna. It is the progress Lagna. So if I take Vargo as Lagna, that is the first principle. I am using all the principles, not just the latest principle of 3 parts, but I am using the old principles also. So taking Vargo as Lagna, how do you judge various placements of planets? The 10th house, is it strong? Is Jupiter strongly placed?
10th house is strong, but he has Parivartana with Mercury.
Yeah. Whether it's Mercury or Jupiter, being in the 10th house is good. For benefics, being in the 10th house, being in any quadrant or trine from the Dasha Lagna is always auspicious. For male fix, being in 3, 6 and 11 is auspicious. Any other houses, there is a problem. So here, for example, take Shani. Shani is in the 12th house. Is that good? Yeah, but in the Narayan Dasha, when you are judging Narayan Dasha, from the Dasha sign, if Shani or Rahu or somebody is in the 12th house, it's not good.
Why not giving up the game?
As far as Narayan Dasha judgment is concerned, for male fix, only 3, 6 and 11 are good. All other houses are inauspicious for those planets.
That is only for when you are looking at Narayan Dasha or in general?
This is only when you are taking the Narayan Dasha sign as Lagna and judging the placement of planets. So here Saturn is the 5th and 6th lord and he is in the 12th house. So those houses are not good. And Moon, is he well placed in the 6th or badly placed?
The Lord of the 10th house Lord.
See, he is in the 6th house. To see if 6th house is good or bad, you have to know whether he is benefic or malefic. If he is benefic, 6th house is bad. If he is malefic, 6th house is good. So, see if he is benefic or malefic. This is Shukla Tritiya. So that means he is a benefic. So,
When you say based on that, there is also the Lord of the 11th house. So that's also
that is functional nature. I am talking about natural. Based on whether this is Shukla Paksha or Krishna Paksha, moon becomes either natural benefic or natural malefic. And that is what decides whether he should be well placed in quadrants or trines, or he should be well placed in 3, 6, 11.
just moon, just as a nature,
Just the basic nature of moon. And during Shukla Paksha, his basic nature is positive, not negative. So overall, you see that most of the planets are badly placed, except Mars, Jupiter, and all these Mercury, Venus, and Sun. So basically, 4th and 10th house axis is good. So comfort, mother, education, all those areas they shine. Getting a house, getting a car, all those areas shine. And 10th house, Jupiter. So karma, the career, the profession, that also shines. So those areas shine, but there is some problem relating to marriage, relationships. There is some problem relating to children, relating to work, relating to the enemies, relating to gains. There are various problems. But Mars in the 11th house is again a good placement.
right, because the malefic.
Yeah, because he is a malefic. Yes, Session.
Will it also form, two questions. One, will it also form Rajayoga of
Where? In the Sagittarius?
in the Sagittarius Jupiter, between Jupiter and Venus?
Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, everybody is forming a Rajayoga. Only Sun is spoiling it. Mercury is Lagna Lord. Now taking Virgo as Lagna, Mercury is Lagna and 10th Lord. Venus is 2nd and 9th Lord. Jupiter is 7th and 4th Lord. There are various Rajayogas between them. So that is why 4th and 10th house, that is the axis of all the activities. And there are various Rajayogas. So overall, this will be an auspicious period, especially when those yogas are actually giving the result. So without looking at anything else, can you say that the middle 1/3 will be the highlight of this period? Does anybody agree with that? Anybody agree?
Middle course.
Without doing any further analysis, can you conclude that out of this whole 9-year dasha, the middle 3 years will be the highlight? Because that is giving the results of various conjunctions and aspects on Virgo. So Mercury, Venus, Sun, Jupiter, all these planets. Out of the 6 planets which will give the result, there are 4 planets which are forming nice yogas. So that will be the highlight during this period. Yes.
The 7th is during the first house, first when we are taking the Virgo as the Lagna.
Yeah.
The 7th house is Ketu. Will it have marriage problems?
Yes.
Ketu
Ketu, wherever he is, he wants to basically burn away that house.
like there is, they are married, even if the person is married, then they are married, but kind of
Having to be separate.
having to
Or,
separate or,
things will not be smooth as far as marriage is concerned.
it will be only during while we take the first 4 quarters and because we are considering Virgo as Lagna.
Yeah. In general, taking Virgo as Lagna, 7th house has Ketu in it. So in general, this whole dasha, with relationships and marriage, there is some friction. There is some problem. That is one thing you can say. And in the portion when Ketu will give his results, then this particular result will actually dominate. That will come sometime during the middle 1/3.
So one question asked from this topic related to this is, if somebody in Navamsa has from their Lagna, they have faith in Saraswati, that means throughout their period they are going to have trouble with that. What is that in this?
It also depends on what is Ketu's agenda and where the lord of that house is. The planet in the 7th house, Ketu has certain agenda based on who he is and based on which house he wants. Being the 3rd lord, he has certain agenda. Being Ketu, the Mokshakaraka, he has certain agenda. And when he is placed in the house of marriage, he will try to push his agenda through marriage. And if he wants to give moksha, he may say, why do you want to get married? Just get moksha. Don't get married. So he may try to delay the marriage or give problems in the marriage. But at the same time, he is not the only one who controls the person's marriage. The 7th lord is there. The Karaka Venus is there. So depending on how they are placed, he may or may not be able to completely break the marriage or not give the marriage. He may not be able to do that. But that will be his interest. But if Ketu is 7th lord in 7th house, let us say Taurus was the Lagna in Navamsa, somebody is Navamsa, and Ketu is the 7th lord of Scorpio, placed in the 7th house, then it's not so bad. Even though his Karakatva, his signification tells him, get moksha, why marry, get moksha. He is the 7th lord also. And another thing that we have to keep in mind is, Ketu is not per se against marriage. He will say, get married, get children, then take sannyasa and get moksha. That's what he says. So, if you are getting married not for sensual pleasures, but if you are getting married for the purpose of getting children, for the purpose of growing the family, Ketu is not so against it. So, Ketu can show a marriage which is done as a duty basically, either arranged by parents or you are doing it yourself, but you do it as a duty basically, for the growth of the family. Then Ketu is not so against it. So it's not that Ketu is completely against marriage, but Ketu, if you want to fall in love with someone and have a lot of sensual pleasures, Ketu will try to put brakes on it. Again, whether he will be able to do it or not depends on Venus strength, depends on 7th lord strength. So there are various factors, but let's be clear about what each factor means. Ketu in 7th in general is not auspicious for marriage. So here, the 7th lord Jupiter is in a quadrant, he is well placed, and he is having Argala as well as aspect on 7th house. So it's not so bad. I'm not saying that during this during this Mahadasha, this kid will not get married. I'm not saying that. But there will be some friction relating to relationship during Ketu's period. Now, let us also look at the other technique that I said, Dasha Pravesha Chakra. You can look at the entry chart of the period and then draw some conclusions. Okay, let us look at this chart now and look at various Antardashas.
Yeah, does Hora Lord has any significance?
No. It may, but I am not aware of it. Okay, so let us look at, do you see any special yogas here? Anything that really strikes?
Saturn is a good yoga.
Saturn?
Being in Cancer.
Yeah, Cancer Lagna.
It's good, like.
It's a good yoga. For Cancer Lagna, if Saturn is in Cancer Lagna, it's a good yoga. It's a special combination. Saturn likes being in Cancer, especially if it is Lagna at the 10th house. Indira Gandhi has it, Bush has it, a lot of people have it. It's kind of like a Simhasana yoga. It gives good position to that person. There is no special name that I am aware of, but it's a good combination. If Saturn is in Cancer, and if Cancer happens to be either 1st house or 10th house, then Saturn will give a very good position to that person, even though he is in Manakaka. Because Saturn is the planet of masses and people, lot of masses, lot of low-level people. So it could show following among those people. But I don't know why it's for Cancer. Cancer is a sign ruled by Moon. Again, the planet of emotions, sign of emotions and sign of... Moon is the planet of, again, masses, but in a different sense. Saturn is the planet of basically working class people. And Moon also shows masses, but it just shows a lot of minds basically working together. Moon is the karaka for mind in an individual person. And if you take the whole society, a whole country, Moon is again the karaka of mind. And what is the mind of a society? All the people, all the gossiping, all the people, that is the mind of the society. So Moon is the mind of the society. So he is the master. And Saturn is all the working people, all the labor in the country. So those two planets are important for mass following. If a political leader has following among masses and among labor in the country, among working class people in the country, Moon and Saturn are the planets who are very important. So perhaps that is why Saturn being in Moon sign in Lagna or 10th house is supposed to be a good yoga. I'm not completely sure of the rationale behind it, but that is a combination given in classics. So that is one good yoga. What else? Buddhaditya yoga in the 6th house. Lagna Lord Moon is very well placed. He is exalted in the 11th house. So he shows a lot of gain. He is a good planet. 10th Lord Mars is in 10th house, giving Vrishika yoga, Mahapurusha yoga. So 10th house is very strong. So when you look at the whole thing, it is Cancer that strikes out, and then Taurus and Aries will be very auspicious. Taurus will give some gains. 2006 October to 2007 July. This will give some gains. This is a good period. And Aries, this is an excellent period for career. How old will he be then? 30 years, 29, 30 years, yeah. So that's the right age, but that is a very auspicious period because Aries Antardasha is running and Mars is in that house. Mars is in Aries in one house in the 10th house. So that will be a very auspicious period.
11 is right there.
Yeah. Yeah?
11.
What 11? A8. Okay. 11 will be here. Yeah. Okay. So now let us jump to the three parts rule. Three parts rule. So Virgo will give the result. You said that Virgo will give the results in the first 1/3. Middle 1/3 will give the result of aspecting and occupying planets, the 6 planets. The last 1/3 will give the result of the Lord, Mercury. So first 1/3 we said will give the result of Virgo. What kind of results will they be? Good results or bad results? Yeah, it's the 6th house from Lagna and 3rd house from Arudha Lagna. And if it's a malefic house, it is good. If it is a benefic house, it is not so good. And is Gemini, is Virgo a malefic house or benefic house? In general, take Gemini and Virgo as neutral houses. Yeah.
But these stars from Lagna usually perceived as a lot of initiative and
right. The 3rd from Arudha Lagna will when the sign gives its result, that is a period when you have to show a lot of initiative. But whether you will show initiative or whether you will come across as somebody who doesn't show any initiative depends on whether it's a benefic sign or malefic sign. If a sign ruled by Jupiter, see Sagittarius and Pisces, they are considered benefic signs, just as Jupiter is considered benefic planet. If those signs fall in the 3rd from Arudha Lagna, during that particular dasha, when the sign is going to give the result, the person will be perceived as a sadhu, as somebody who doesn't work hard and fight for something. So if Sagittarius or Pisces is in the 3rd or 6th from Arudha Lagna, it's not good for material success.
but this being Virgo in from Arudha Lagna.
Virgo is in the 3rd from Arudha Lagna. And the tricky thing about Virgo is neither really a benefic sign or a malefic sign.
How do you figure
The
out
benefic
signs
sign,
or the benefits?
it is given in classics. You can see it, and it's basically based on the nature of the planet who owns the sign.
A lot of it.
Yeah. For example, Libra is a benefic sign. Cancer is a benefic sign.
They were also even in based on the law.
Yeah.
Not taken where the benefit of malefic based on association.
Right.
He has also neutral nature.
But when you're talking about sign, you can't decide the nature of sign based on the Lord. So that is why you just say Gemini and Virgo are neutral signs.
Gemini were neutral.
Yeah.
So the Cancer is considered benefit.
Cancer is a benefic sign, very benefic sign.
So
The sign of creation.
Sagittarius and Pisces are benefit.
Yeah.
Because Jupiter.
Yeah.
So both Venus own houses, which is
Yeah.
Taurus and Libra are benefit.
Right.
All the rest are negative.
Yes. Right. Okay. So these two, this sign, Virgo is basically a neutral sign. It is in the 3rd from Arudha Lagna and 6th from Lagna. So this is overall a period of showing some initiative, and there will be some slowness basically in showing the initiative, but he will show initiative, because if it is benefic, you can say he will not show initiative, he will give up. If it is malefic, you can say he will show a lot of initiative and fighting spirit. Because it's neutral, it will be the middle ground basically. So, but bottom line is, this is the period of initiative and period of overcoming obstacles, because this is the 6th house. And what are the houses aspecting it? Because they will also give their results. The houses aspecting it are 3rd house, 12th house and 9th house. So what are the results?
Results of one house aspect in which we could have some things giving away, or we might have some little few losses in that case.
He can have losses. Can he have displacement also? 9th and 12th Lord. So not Lord, sorry. 9th and 12th houses both are aspecting Virgo. So can he travel to a faraway place? For example, from Mass to California or Mass to Florida or Mass to somewhere, Washington, can he travel? Can he have a displacement during this Mahadasha?
Yes.
In that particular 1/3 where the aspect of Pisces and Sagittarius on Virgo gives his results. So he can have a change of place during this period. That is one result. And will he
see in this sign part of it or later?
Yes, now. So this is this one.
Third house aspect, that means he will show initiative, and he could, as part of the initiative, he could have a displacement with which he could be.
He could have a lot of travel also. Third house could show travel. So there are so many possibilities. Short travels. He can have a lot of short travels during this period. So all these are possible during 2006 January to 2009 January. And Palani made another important point. We looked at Virgo. We'll come to you. First Palani's point. We looked at Virgo as the third house from Arudha Lagna, as the sixth house from Lagna. We can also look at Virgo as the Bhagyapada and Sukhapada, Vahanapada. So A4 is there and A9 is there. So those results will also be given during this 1/3 when the sign gives this result. It's part of sign. The Arudha are part of the sign. So what do you say? What does A9 show?
It arguments whatever you said, like distance traveling, long distance.
Yes, that is one possibility. Another possibility is 9th house is basically fortune. A9 is tangible manifestation of fortune. So some good breaks, some lucky breaks in life. If you say he is fortunate, what do you mean by he is fortunate? You may have some sense in your mind. For some reasons you think that he is fortunate. But whether he is fortunate or not is tough to judge. But he got a lucky break. He didn't do anything. He had a 3 GPA, but he got a nice job at so-and-so company. Or he didn't do that well, but he got a promotion. He didn't deserve a particular thing, but he got this. That kind of things, you look at them as lucky breaks. He is lucky. So when you talk about such things, they are tangible. Somebody may not deserve something. I mean, he may deserve something, but he got something very quickly, let us say. Then you say, he's fortunate. So A9 is tangible things from which you deduce that the person is fortunate. The 9th house itself is fortune, and it's intangible. It has no manifestation basically. So 9th house is the intangible fortune, which is a concept that is in the mind, that is embedded within a person, but it can't be seen or felt. But A9 is something that you can put your finger on, a particular lucky break that he got in life. So during Virgo Dasha first 1/3, he will get some lucky breaks in life. And A4, what does A4 show? Some comfort. 4th house is Sukha. A4 is tangible manifestation of comfort. If I am happy, if I say I am happy, oh man, I have everything in life, I am happy. You may not know what I am happy about. I may be happy, but what am I happy about?
He may get married also this time.
UL is aspecting it. Very good. Good point.
You can buy a new house or a new vehicle.
A4 can be a vehicular house. So these are the various results. A10 is aspecting it, so he can get a job.
No, but let me ask you, that was the question I was coming back to. Rasi Drishti, I thought was, if you look at it in this case, the house itself is Srisodaya Rasi. So the first house, first
1/3.
1/3 is just for the Rasi itself.
When I say Rashi, the aspects on the Rashi are also part there.
So they don't come into the aspecting part.
No. The aspects, those aspects are the Graha aspects.
So
And this 1/3 we are looking at all inanimate portions of the analysis. The next 2/3 are the animate portions. This is the inanimate aspects. So the sign itself, the house, the Arudhapada, the signs aspecting it, the house is aspecting it, the Arudhapada is aspecting it. All those will give their results in the first 1/3 here. Okay? This is completely inanimate part. The inanimate influences giving their results. Like I said, they will give their results always, but they will peak during this particular 1/3. So during this period, he can get married, he can get a job, he can get a car, he can get a house, he can have some lucky breaks, and he can have some enemies.
So in case of Rasi is also thing, you apply from the rules here. Let's say a Rasi first gives the results of its natural benefit.
Natural benefit. Yeah.
Naturally, it gives the results of its own house first.
See,
Or
I already said this in a previous class. A class that you didn't come for? I don't really know. I don't really know any such rules. So even though it is a long period for Untitled Chapter, it would be nice to further subdivide it. I don't know of any principles that work consistently. I haven't really experimented. So, and I wasn't given any. I teach something if I experiment and find it working, or my teachers taught me and I experimented a little bit and I found it working. Then also I teach something. Or if it is my research, I will teach it after I work a lot on it. But this is something where neither criterion applies. So I don't have anything to teach. Yeah. Research question. But there must be some principles. One thing I can say is there must be some principles. Yeah. Again, we don't understand the logic behind the principles that we know. I mean, we have some idea, but we don't exactly know the logic. If you know the exact logic behind everything you know, you will be able to extrapolate it to new things. Yeah. When you don't understand why something is so in a particular case, how can you extend it to some other case? But still, it's fun to try. Then why?
Related to whatever they just said, and there has to be some principles. Assuming that this is, this been work that has been lost or not available to everyone, is there any effort that India creates, high percentage?
Why are you asking me? I don't know. Ideally, there should be. See, for example, SJC is trying to collect various manuscripts and then get them translated. There is an effort going on at SJC, and I'm sure other astrology institutes also have some similar efforts. So these things don't give results in one day. And whatever principles that Sanjay ji taught me, as far as Narayana Dasa is concerned, they are basically from the tradition, but I see some hints in along the same lines in classics sometimes. Some of those principles do have hints in classics. So there must be some hints somewhere in some book. So it will be nice to collect various manuscripts, and SSC is engaged in such activity. Yeah. Okay. Now, the middle 1/3. We said that the middle 1/3 will be an excellent period. The middle 1/3 will be very, very good period from 2009 to 2012, because all these aspects and occupancy and aspects are given during this period. But Rahu and Ketu are slightly bad. So when Rahu will give his results, because he is in Lagna, for that Dasha, Rahu is in Lagna. When Rahu is in Lagna, it's not good for health. It's not good for your mental state. So that period will be bad. When will that come? We have the arranged planets in the order of longitudes. Okay, so Sun will come first, then Amatyakaraka, Venus will come, Mercury is Natyakaraka, so he will come later, but Jupiter is Putrakaraka, he will come before. Oh boy, that's the same thing. Okay, there is a Charkaraka Parivartana, but we'll talk about it later.
When you take Gemini in that case, because it's 58 minutes and the other one is 10 minutes?
Yeah, you take Jupiter first. So it is Sun, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, then let's look at Rahu and Ketu. They are, okay, actually Rahu and Ketu come before Jupiter. So it is Sun, if you arrange these 6 planets, the planet occupying Virgo and the planets aspecting it, Rahu, Venus, Sun, Mercury, Ketu and Jupiter. What I am doing is, for those who are lost, I am arranging them in the order of longitudes, decreasing order of longitudes, and for Rahu and Ketu I count in reverse. So when you do that, you could do the math, or you could just look at these karakas. AK is before AMK, AMK is before BK, because those karakatwas are based on the same longitudes. You could just get a hint from the karakatwas and arrange them in order. So Sun will be the first one. Pardon me? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. After I make it open source, you are welcome. Okay. So Sun will give the results first, then Venus, then Rahu and Ketu. So we don't really have a preference, so let's take Rahu first. Rahu, then Ketu. Sun, Venus, Rahu, Ketu, and next Jupiter, and finally Mercury. So what you can conclude is the third one is Rahu. So when is that? This is 2003 to 2012. This is 3 years, 36 months. So divide by 6, this is half year. Lucky for us, it's a very nice number. So every half year, there is a change in God. So 2009 January to 2009 July, that will be Sun. You will get the results of Sun's aspect on that house. What is the likely result then? Sun is the 12th lord from Virgo. But from Lagna, he is the 5th lord. So 5th lord aspect on the Dasha sign, which means some kind of recognition of his abilities. Maybe he gets a job or gets a raise or something, some recognition during that period. And then the next 6 months will be Venus period. 2009 July till 2010 January. Then Venus will give the result of his aspect on Virgo. And that will be a good period because Venus is a benefit and he is the 7th and 2nd lord here. And moreover, taking Virgo as Lagna, he is the 9th lord of fortune. And his aspect on Virgo is so very auspicious. So during that period, those 6 months, there will be some lucky breaks in life. That is a very fortunate period. 2009 July to 2010 January. And after that, the third part will be 2010 January till 2010 July. So that period he has to watch out. Rahu being in Lagna, result will be given then. Rahu being in Virgo, result will be given then. So that is the period to watch out.
It is an extent though. It's also the 6th house of Mother.
Yeah.
So Nilus is sitting in 6th house.
Right.
Nilus is in the 6th house and also is 11th lord in 6th house.
Yeah, he is the 11th lord in 6th house. Yeah.
11th lord can give him some gain, but Rahu is being 11th lord.
If Rahu is in the 6th house, it shows health problems. So that is even more reason to be worried. Rahu in the 6th house, he gives material success but health problems.
So actually he will give you the real charge to overcome the difficulties.
Yeah.
But
He'll give you difficulties and he'll give you the ability to basically
overcome that.
Yeah, overcome them. But as far as health is concerned, Rahu in 60 is bad. Rahu destroys the health. He doesn't protect the health. Anyway, coming back to here, so let us see, before, when you are concerned about a particular 6 months not being so good for health, one thing you can directly do is go to the TS chart. Yeah, Tithi Pravesh. When you want to tell a person's mother, he should be careful during this year about his health. You can see whether whatever Narayan Dasha shows is corroborated by some other technique. If not, then maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's some minor thing because it's being shown in only one parameter, not in all parameters. So look at 2010. The 2010 annual chart starts on December 19, 2009. The Hora Lord is, the ruler of the year is Mercury, and how is he placed? Mercury, what houses does he own? Based on the houses owned by the ruler of the year, you conclude what are the main events of the year. 3rd and 6th houses. So, we saw some health problem being possible in Narayan Dasha. Is that possible here also? Yes. And that Mercury, he is with, who is he with? Who are close to him? He is with Gurika, Mandi and Rahu and Sun. And Rahu and Sun is far away. Sun is much further away from Mercury. But Rahu is quite close. Rahu is close, 27 degrees, 24 degrees. They are within 3 degrees. So the 6th Lord Mercury, the ruler of the year, is afflicted by Badhakesha, the two Rahu. Very closely afflicted by him. But Rahu's affliction of Mercury is not so bad compared to Sun or Mars or Jupiter. So it's not that bad, but still the very fact that the ruler of the year owns the 6th house and he is with Rahu and Gurika and Mandi, you can basically conclude that it's not a very pretty year for health, as far as health is concerned. So we are done. We will go back to the natal chart. Similarly, if you see marriage possible during a particular period in Narayan Dasha, it's a wise thing too, because you can never conclude with certainty. You can only say maybe 50% chance. You can never say 100% based on one parameter. But if Tithi Pravesh also shows a particular year as a strong candidate, and Narayan Dasha also shows it, and Vimshottari Dasha also shows it, then you can confidently say he will get married during this year. Otherwise, you can't be very confident. So a good practice would be, just like now I did now, to look at the Tithi Pravesh of the concerned year and then confirm whatever hunch you have. Okay? So we will stop here as far as Rashi Narayana Dasha is concerned. But during 2010, the year 2010, he should be careful about his health. So maybe the year before that, he should watch what he is eating, what the exercise that he is doing, and take all the precautions basically. Not engage in any new habits, any potential bad habits. Be aware that there can be some health issues in 2010. If you are aware and if you take precautions, hopefully the magnitude will be smaller than it could have been. That's the idea. That's what astrology can do for you. It can try to minimize the impact of a negative thing. Okay? But the 6 months before that will be very good for, the 1 year before that will be very good for career. He'll get good breaks, etc. You wanted to say something?
Look at D24 to see mentioning about education. Yeah. Previously what we saw, not the future one, So
yeah.
I have, the reason I brought this chart here is that it could be a timing issue, birth time issue. I talked to mother and she said that she's quite accurate, she's confident about the time.
Okay.
I'm not.
With 47 seconds, the Siddhamsa Lagna will change, D24 Lagna.
What we saw, Rashi chart, he is, can I share with the results?
Share it.
Yeah. See, he's a very bright student, valedictorian, first 2 years in Brandeis, he did very well.
Yeah.
He dropped out of college from 99 onwards until now. He's pretty much in seclusion. Doesn't do anything regular things, but he's just devoted to the spiritual aspect of it. He just sits there and meditates, that's all. And he doesn't talk to anybody, he's cut off from everyone. That's what concerns mother. That's what.
Okay.
When you think of it, relief, but some periods of 1-2 courses he enrolled it, but he never completed or just completed it. But now even one course he enrolled it, but he's still not at that full thing.
Okay. Let us see if D24 Lagna is accurate, or we have to go back to the previous sign, because it could be Taurus or it could be Aries. So we want to focus on his learning, his education, and based on the Rashi Narayana Dasha, we saw that basically Sun, the results of Shani in the 5th house are being given, and Shani can also show meditation, etc. The Karaka for meditation, and somebody also mentioned Sannyasi kind of thing. It's not exactly Sannyasi, but the Moon Shani, Chandra Shani Yoga, the result of Chandra Shani Yoga, influence of Saturn and Moon, that can give results akin to renunciation, results basically giving up things, not being interested in material things. So that Saturn period, when Saturn gave his results, he completely triggered the Chandra Shani Yoga.
But
so
also it confuses the mind and go into the depression too, right?
Yes, Shani, when Chandra is influenced by Shani, it can give sannyasa kind of results. It can also result in depression and confusion, total confusion. And it can be a combination of the two also. That's the problematic.
So that's what.
So basically, during that period, whatever results that we were expecting, they kind of make sense with the feedback that he gave. But why he is ignoring his studies so completely? To get better sense of it, we can look at the D24. Based on Rashi, we know that 5th house has Shani, so he is not using his abilities well, and he is going in the Shani direction. But let us look at D24.
Somehow you should have broken out of that, because Saturn acting as his 5th house results should only be a part of the whole dasha. It can be all through.
It was the middle 1/3 basically. Middle 1/3 will be predominant. Yeah. Yeah, 1 second. Actually, first 1/3, you said that he dropped out.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
That was we analyzed it.
Yeah. So middle 1/3 is the one when Saturn will give the results. So after Sun starts giving his results, Sun is the 5th lord in the 9th house. During this period, things should improve. That's what we would normally guess. During this current period, the last 1/3, things will improve because
it's a relative improvement, not improvement.
So he's saying that there is only relative improvement, but it's not still satisfactory to parents.
Right.
So we want to look at D24 and get further insight. But if you excuse me, before we do that, I just want to check one thing. Okay. So when did he drop out of school and when did he go into this meditation thing?
It's end of 98 and beginning of 99. But it started that way, and but now he's more confused than what it was started. Starting time was.
I see. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to see if actually this dasha, Drugdasha. I will talk about it in a future class, but it will suffice to just say one thing. This is the dasha that is important for spiritual activities, religious and spiritual activities, and this dasha shows the God's light that is falling on you and guiding you. And if you see that, if somebody has the dasha sign being aspected by Ketu, that particular period is good for spiritual progress. That is the period when there will be a spiritual awakening. At the same time, if a dasha is aspected by Rahu, that will cause confusion, spiritual confusion. In the case of dual signs, if Rahu and Ketu are in dual signs, both will be involved. So there will be, both the aspects will be there. But for other signs, if Ketu was, for example, in Aries, and Rahu was in Libra, only one of them would be aspecting at a given time. There will be periods of confusion and periods of growth. But in general, the principle is the signs aspected by Ketu are auspicious for getting the spiritual growth. Those are the periods when, provided there are combinations in the chart, those are the periods when spiritual churning will take place. So I just wanted to see if Ketu was aspecting the sign, the dasha. So it started on January 11, 1999. The sign that was being aspected by Ketu. But even before that, Gemini was being aspected by Ketu. So you can conclude that from a very young age, he will be a very spiritual person because Ketu is aspecting the Drigdasha sign since his birth, basically. So he, yeah. But Virgo will also bring the results of Rahu, not just Ketu's aspect, but Rahu's occupancy of Virgo will give his results. So Virgo is a period when there will be a lot of confusion also. So during this period, more than actual spiritual progress, this is a period of confusion. That's what you can conclude. Is Rahu dominating in this period or Ketu? That's what you want to check.
Vishnu is right from 1978. This is gone, as you said.
Yeah.
All the four houses are dual houses.
Right. Right.
So Ketu's influence is there all along.
Right.
But so I would expect him to be most listening to Pisces, where Ketu is the...
Yeah, that's too young, very young age. But when Ketu is in Drigdasha sign, he will get lot of exposure to spiritual thinking, etc. There will be some spiritual during such a young age.
Yeah, he has lived it mostly like Swami Chirmananda used to come to their house and a lot of spiritual comes to stay with them. He used to play with them most of the time. That's what his mother said.
84 to 90.
Yeah, 84, there is another,
Yeah, it goes to 2008 that way.
Yeah.
And the other prediction before he made was from 2009 it's going to be for Ramadan.
Okay. Let us now, this was a detour. Let us go back to the Narayan Dasha of D24. Okay, what Dasha is he running?
Right now, Taurus.
Fourth Lord is Moon. This is Libra. Okay. I'm looking at the Narayan Dasha. There are different kinds of Narayan Dasha. By default, in the Narayan Dasha of D24, because 24 is 12 modulo 12, the seed house is 12th house. So we take the 12th Lord of the Rasi chart, see where he is in D24, take that as the seed and see the progression in D24. So that shows the overall learning of the person, the overall detachment, learning that God is everywhere. That supreme learning, that is what you see in the normal D24 Narayan Dasha. But if you are concerned about a particular normal learning that you do at school, the formal schooling, then There is another D24 Narayan Dasha which is more appropriate, according to Sanjay ji. He uses the 4th Lord as the seed, because 4th is education. Instead of 12th. 12th is basically the process of moksha, giving up your identity. That is the complete siddhi. 12th house is the complete siddhi. Siddhamsa. This is called Siddhamsa. This is the chart that shows your siddhi. But if you are not concerned about the siddhi, but if you are concerned about the material learning that you do at school, then you should use the 4th Lord. So what I did was, the 4th Lord is Moon and he is in Libra. Take the stronger of Libra and Aries. Aries is stronger. So I went to options and changed the Dasha start sign to Aries. So if I do this, he was running Taurus Dasha. He was running the Taurus Dasha during from 1990 to 2001.
Taurus is basically not now.
Yeah.
Also, let's see, a lot of this house, Venus in the 12th house.
So the results in the last 1/3 will be given by the sign itself, right? And which are those signs? 3rd, 6th and 9th houses are aspecting it. This is Taurus itself is Lagna, and the signs aspecting it are 3rd, 6th and 9th house. And what are the padas aspecting it? A11, A6, A8, A3, UL and A5. So what does A8 show? Yeah, Mutsupada. But what does it show in T24? When you are looking at formal learning, we are looking at formal. Yeah, break basically. A3 is a short break and A8 is just like in career. Even here, A3 is like a vacation. You went on a vacation from school, or you went as a co-op at a company and you worked for 6 months and you came back. That could be A3. And A8 is complete break, complete giving up. So because this sign is being aspected by A8 and A3, the result of that aspect by A8 and A3 is given in the last 1/3 when the sign gives its result. Because Taurus is a Pushtadaya Rasi. And I am not even looking at Lord, aspects, etc. because those are first 2 1/3. I don't care about them. So during the last 1/3, when he actually dropped out of school, that must be the period when Libra, the A8 and A3 were aspecting, that result was given. We don't have a way of actually arranging them in the order. That must be the period when this result was given. But we see that A8 and A3 are aspecting. That's what I wanted to check. Now let us move on to the next Dasha. The Dasha he started in 2001 is Gemini. He is running Gemini Dasha right now. What can you say about Gemini Dasha? Let us forget the first 2 1/3. Let us focus on the current 1/3. What results are given in the current 1/3?
Actually, it's
a Sishodaya Rasi. Lord Mercury is also in a Sishodaya Rasi. So the sign will give the results in first 1/3. Lord will give in the next 1/3. The last 1/3 will be the aspects and conjunctions. So Sun and Saturn, they will give the results in the last 1/3. So from 2004 May till 2006 January, Sun and Saturn are giving the results of their being in Gemini and aspecting Gemini. So what are the results? Yeah, we have to order them based on the longitudes. Who is more advanced? Sun is 27 degrees, Saturn is 6 degrees. So Sun will give the results first. So 2004 May till 2005 March. This is the period. The period just ended. Sun gave his results. And Sun's situation in Gemini, is it good or bad?
I guess it's okay.
He is 4th Lord. His agenda is education, being the 4th Lord. And he is in the 2nd house of resources. So the planet whose agenda is to make this person learn, he is placed in the house of resources. So that means he will try to, because his agenda is learning, he will use the resources available for learning towards learning, right? If the planet's agenda is to stop learning, let's say 8th Lord, he is in the 2nd house. The planet's agenda is to stop the learning, and you place him in the house of resources, he will waste those resources. He will say, I am not interested in those. But if the planet whose agenda is to make this person learned, if the planet who wants to get this person to learn things. If he is placed in the house of resources, he will utilize the resources. So whatever resources he has to learn, this is a period, this is the last 8 months or whatever months. That was the period when he will actually try to make some use of the resources. So this is a relatively better period as far as enrolling in courses or trying to do something is concerned. This is a better period. But what about the period that will go on now? It will give the result of Shani aspecting Gemini. What is Shani's agenda? Is Yogakaraka, 9th and 10th Lord. Do your duty.
But it's also sitting
Yeah, he's sitting in the 8th house. But being in the 8th house is the house of hard work. And his agenda is 9th and 10th. Getting good name in the society for his learning. Fulfilling his dharma as far as learning is concerned and getting some name in the society. 10th house is karma in the society. So do some karma in the society relating to learning. So that is his agenda. So as far as learning is concerned, is Saturn a benefic or malefic here? He is a benefic planet. Functionally, he is a benefic planet for learning. He is a Yogakaraka, for God's sake, in this chart. He is Yogakaraka, not Brahmakaraka. He is Yogakaraka. So if Yogakaraka is placed in the 8th house, he will not give a break, but he will give hard work. He could give break also, but that break will be with 9th and 10th house results. So he will get a good name and he will do well, finally fulfill his dharma, realize his dharma. So that is what Saturn will give. So his aspect on the 2nd house, that means he will use those resources. He will try to utilize those resources in a way that will bring him good name. So actually even more than Sun Dasha. By the way, what is he studying now? Bachelor's?
Yeah.
So for bachelor's, 9th house is the house. 4th house is the house of basic learning. But for bachelor's, 9th is the house. And 9th lord is Saturn. So it will be actually good for finishing off his bachelor's degree and starting career, learning, thinking about what he should learn for his career. Because he is 10th lord also. 10th house in Siddhanta shows professional learning. Right? So mostly this time is accurate because Taurus was being aspected by Vishwada. I concluded that this Lagna is accurate, and mostly whatever we can say with reasonable confidence. After March 11th, there will be more awareness of his duty and more interest in actually finishing off the program, getting out of the program. I mean, get the degree and finally move on. So there will be more interest during the period that is going to come now. So from 2005 March 11 till 2006 January 11, he will actually become more dutiful towards his learning. That is my expectation. And do you want to confirm from Tithi Pravesha? 2005. Make the annual chart of 2005. How is this year? Who is the Hora Lord? Sun. Sun is the Hora Lord. He is the Lagna Lord. So what does it show? Good health, new beginning in life, a fresh lease of life. That's what Lagna Lord being the Hora Lord means. So this is overall an auspicious year. Unlike 2010 that we saw where 6th Lord was the Hora Lord. And is he taking part in any good yoga? Sun is at 28 degrees, Venus at 10 degrees, Mercury at 10 degrees too. So he doesn't really have any great yoga. But yeah, there is a Raj Yoga, but it's not a very strong yoga. But there isn't any strong yoga that Sun is taking part in. But he is well placed. He is in 5th house. He is in a friendly house, 5th house. He is in an Adhimitra Sthana, a best friend's house. Because Jupiter is in the 3 signs adjacent to Sun. So he is a temporary friend also, not only permanent friend. So he is a compound friend. He is an Adhimitra. So he is in an Adhimitra Sthana being aspected by Jupiter. So he is quite happy there. And let us look at the Siddhamsa. How is Siddhamsa? Is there a yoga here in Siddhamsa? Yeah. 11th Lord. I'm not talking about that yoga actually. The Hora Lord is placed in the 10th house, which is good for professional education. So whatever learning he is doing, thinking of what should I do, what should be my career, what should I learn for that career, that awareness will come when the Hora Lord is in the 10th house in Siddhamsa. But I'm not looking at that. Is the Lagna Lord involved in any Raj Yoga? Because not only Hora Lord, Lagna Lord of every divisional chart is very important. So Lagna Lord Venus is in a quadrant with 9th Lord Mercury. That's a Raj Yoga. Lagna and 9th Lord being together means you will understand your duty and you will do your duty. And also we are talking about bachelor's education of this person, for which 9th is the controlling house. So Raj Yoga involving a lot of that house means he will actually make a lot of progress relating to bachelor's education during this year.
And these aspects in Lagna.
They are affecting Lagna. So Lagna, aspect on Lagna means a fresh start. So this is a very auspicious year. So my guess is he may be a spiritual person, but during the last few years he was more confused than making spiritual progress. This is not the way to make spiritual progress. There is time for everything. Somebody that he will listen to has to sit and tell him after March 7th. Actually, it is over. So right now is the time. Somebody should sit down and tell him nicely. He is a bright kid who will do well in life, and especially the next 10 years are very good for his career. He will get some lucky breaks in career. So he should concentrate on bachelor's for the next 1 year, and I believe he will. I think the time has come. He will concentrate on his bachelor's more, and he will do well. Okay? Sure. Now let us go to, before we wrap up for today, I will answer your question, D12. Let us look at D12 Narayan Dasha. Actually, I am just curious. I want to look at his D20 also. Okay. We will not discuss it. I just wanted to see it. Let us look at D12 Narayan Dasha. D12. The default Narayan Dasha, the D12 Narayan Dasha that the software shows, that takes the 12th Lord of the Rashi chart as C. And this shows how you compromise with your parents, how your relationship with the parents is, how they compromise for you, how you compromise, how you look at this relationship. That's what the give and take between father, mother and you. That's what this Dasha shows. It doesn't show specifically what happens to father, what is father's fortune. So let us look at the Dasha running right now. The Dasha running right now is Pisces. Who will give the results? When will Pisces give its results? In this particular Dasha, if we focus on the Dasha that's running right now, the middle part will give the result of Pisces because it is Upyodaya. And when will Jupiter give his result? Is he in Pushtodaya, Srishtodaya, Upyodaya? The Lord Jupiter is in Cancer. Pushtodaya. No, Pushtodaya. 1, 2, 4, 9, 10. Remember? That is how I used to remember when I learned. I used to 1, 2, 4, 9, 10 because it's a very star of Cancer. If you say 1, 2, 4, 9, 10, it's very easy to remember. So I will look at Cancer. 4, yes. Pushtodaya. So you also remembered exactly like I used. It reminded me of my own learning. So Jupiter will give towards the last 1/3 and Pisces will give in the middle 1/3. So who's giving results in the first 1/3? Moon, Rahu and Ketu. These are the planets who are giving their results. And what is the order? Moon is at the end, Rahu is beginning, Rahu, Ketu and Moon. That is the order. Rahu will give in the first 1/3, Ketu in the next 1/3 and Moon in the last 1/3. So how long is this period? Lucky for us, exactly 3 years. So dividing by 3 is very easy. Just 1 year. So 2001 January to 2002 January was Rahu's result. 2000, pardon me? This is not confusion. This is basically relationship with parents. Rahu is controlling the relationship with parents. So does it show good relations or bad relations? Actually, there is a very bad yoga between Rahu and Moon there. Moon is the 6th lord of quarrels and Rahu is the Lagna lord of the person himself. The person is like Rahu. As far as parents are concerned, this is the person. This is how they look at it. He is a Rahu. He behaves like a Rahu with parents. And Moon is the planet who shows quarrels and he is with Rahu. Even if you take the Parivartana into account, Rahu is still with Jupiter. Either way, Rahu is actually taking part in a destructive yoga there. So as far as Rahu is concerned, the relation with parents is very frictionful. to coin a word. It is full of friction. So,
We take Saturn as Lagna.
if you take Saturn as Lagna Lord, then he has a good relationship with father. He is more attached to his father if you take Saturn as Lagna. And actually both will act as Lagna. Saturn and Rahu will act as Lagna, irrespective of who's stronger. So in general, you could probably say that he is more attached to his father. But the same Venus is fourth lord also. So he has some attachment to parents. He does have attachment to parents. But when Rahu is giving his results, he will tend to quarrel with his parents. He will tend to disobey his parents. Because Moon is the planet who shows quarreling in this house, the 6th house. So overall, actually, that way, all the three parts, Rahu, Ketu and Moon, all the three parts are not really good parts. These are periods when there will be friction in the relationship with parents. But what about the next 1/3? Pardon me? It is true, yeah, good. So what about the next part? The middle 1/3?
Middle 1/3 is related to the
Pisces will give its own results. What are the results? It is the 2nd house.
second house. A4 is there.
Yeah.
They are expecting it.
Yeah. A4, Aruh Lagna, A3, these are what are expecting it. 11th house and 8th house. So overall this is not such a bad period. Even though 8th house is expecting it, Aruh Lagna is also expecting it, A4 is expecting it. So he will become more close to mother during this period because A4 is there. Mother will have more influence on him during this period, during this 1/3. He will tend to listen to his mother more, and overall, as far as parental resources are concerned, he will use them well because this is the 2nd house. 2nd house is resources, and resources in deep world. What are those? Those are parental resources that you can use. The things that you get from parents, the things that you can use in all your activities which are given by parents. So he will use parental resources well if father has money and he tells him use that money and study or use that money and do this, do that, do this business, whatever father says. He will use those resources well during this 1/3. So this is less problematic. The friction is basically because of Rahu, Moon and Ketu influencing the Pisces. So that worst part is over. Now it is actually better. What about the next part, the last 1/3?
Well, the law.
Then Jupiter's results are given. And Jupiter is
Sitting, of course, is
placed in the 6th house. Is it good or bad? Jupiter being in the 6th house, is it good or bad? Somebody tell me.
bad.
As far as parental relations are concerned, D12 is concerned, Jupiter placed in the 6th house.
It's bad.
Why?
Because Jupiter, in my opinion, is a benefit.
Yeah, you will only tell your opinion, so tell.
Okay, all I'm saying is, realistic there
Yeah?
would have 6th house of quarrels would have destroyed the quarrelsome environment. But Jupiter is there, sitting in the environment of a quarrelsome environment.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a little confused because Jupiter is not aggressive. to a certain
Yeah.
extent.
So in the house of quarrels, would you rather have somebody who's not aggressive or somebody who is aggressive?
Because
If somebody is aggressive, you will fight with father and you will win. You will say, I want to study this, not this. This is what I am doing. If he threatens you, I will commit suicide if you do it. Yes, commit suicide and then you do it. And then he says, okay, fine. That is what a malefic in the 6th house will give. On the other hand, a benefic in the 6th house will make you compromise. So, exalted with retrogression is equivalent to being debilitated. But when if we are looking at Aruh Lagna, you have to keep this in mind. When you judge from Lagna and when you judge from Aruh Lagna, the things are slightly different. When you judge from Aruh Lagna, it is purely material. It is purely major. So there, if Jupiter is in the 6th house, it shows some kind of defeat. Like I said earlier, defeat may be good for a sadhu. But in general, when we are talking about material success, material things, defeat is a bad thing. So if Jupiter is in the 6th house, it is bad. It shows defeat. But
with parents it's okay.
that is debatable, but let us not go there. Let us not go there. But if the same Jupiter is exalted, again it is good. It shows, not good, but it shows defeat. It shows not trying at all. And if the same Jupiter is debilitated, it shows not putting effort, not having initiative, but suddenly fighting and winning. If Rahu is in the 6th from Aruh Lagna, you will go fight, and then you will win. If Jupiter is in the 6th from Aruh Lagna, but he is debilitated, he will act as a malefic because of debilitation. Then he will not fight. He will not have initiative. He will not want to fight. He will say, I don't want to fight. But the person comes, and then he comes and he wants to kill you, and last minute his sword is reversed and he kills himself, or something like that happens. He comes to fight with you, he is destroyed. So if a benefic who is debilitated is there in the 6th from Aruh Lagna, or even 3rd, you won't have initiative or you won't fight, but finally you will be forced to win. Which means finally you will be forced to either do one mantra or one astra or one shastra, the person is, your opponent is dead. Similarly, if a malefic is there in the 3rd or 6th from Aruh Lagna, it shows you will have a lot of initiative, you want to quarrel, you will go on, fight, you do a lot of fuss. But if the planet is exalted, it is good. It further enhances those results. But if the planet is debilitated, let's say there is debilitated Mars in the 6th from Aruh Lagna, then you will go to fight. You will say, come on, let's fight. And in the last minute, you will just give up and walk away. Or you will just be destroyed. That's what debilitated planets show. They show reversal. And here, even though Jupiter is not debilitated, he is retrograde. He is exalted and retrograde. So the same result applies. So if you were judging from Aruh Lagna, if this was not ascendant in Aquarius, but if it was Aruh Lagna, then what you would say is this person will not fight, but he will be forced to fight at the end, and at the end he will win. Not after a prolonged fight, but just in a second he will just win a fight, without really being interested in the fight. That's what you will say if it was Aruh Lagna. But because it is Lagna, the rules are totally different. In the case of Lagna, we are looking at victory, defeat, etc. We are looking at having to overcome obstacles, the state of mind. Are you peaceful? Are you agitated? Planets in the 6th from Aruh Lagna make you agitated. They give you agitation because this is not just material success now. You are talking about your true being. Lagna is your true being. If the house of obstacles has a malefic, there are a lot of obstacles. You are always agitated. You have a lot of problems basically. So it may be good. Being agitated may be the first step of material success. So if the same planet is well placed from Aruh Lagna also, let's say Mars is in the 6th house from Lagna, and the same Mars, let us say, is in the 3rd from Aruh Lagna, you may have to overcome a lot of obstacles, but you may overcome them, and you may win. But the thing is, let us say Jupiter is in the 6th house, that person will not have to fight. He will be very peaceful. The house of agitation has Jupiter, so there is no agitation for that person. The person is in general very relaxed. So benefics in the 6th house from Lagna, or the 3rd house from Lagna, they give very peaceful, happy-go-lucky, relaxed kind of attitude. If you see somebody having a lot of benefics in Upachayas, in Rasi chart, you can conclude that they are usually very happy-go-lucky kind of people. On the other hand, if the same houses, 3rd, 6th, 10th and 11th, if they have a lot of malefics, Upachayas have a lot of malefics, then they will be always agitated, always wanting to do something, always they need some goal. But if 3rd and 6th, they are very complacent, very relaxed, very happy. So here, coming back to the Dvadashamsa, Jupiter being in the 6th from Lagna is not bad at all. His retrogression is of some concern, but in general, it shows more relaxed relationship with parents. So during the last 1/3, his relationship with parents will actually be much better, even better than Pisces. And the worst is over, and the best is after 2007. That is basically my message. Now, if you want to say what happens to father, what is father going through? What do? I told you earlier. You take the 9th house itself as Lagna and find Narayan Dasa. So go to options, take Libra. Libra is stronger than Aries. So take Libra itself, find the Narayan Dasa. So, for example, take 90 to 2000, the period that is over. Scorpio. Is it a good period for father's career and financial situation? 1990 to 2000. It is the 2nd house. Scorpio is the 2nd house from Lagna.
And very strong.
Yeah. So this is a very good period for father. Very, very auspicious period for career as well as financial situation. There will be a lot of gains. So this is a good period for father. And The next period, 2000 to 2008. How is this? Even this period, Libra period, is it good for father when he was born? The immediate period, is it good for father or bad? It is good because there is such a nice yoga there. Saturn and Venus are together. So this is a good period. But at the same time, Shani and Venus give tapasya yoga also. So the father may have worked very hard during that period. But he will have gotten recognition also for that. And during this period, so this is a period of lot of recognition, establishing in life. And this is the period of accumulating money. Because second house is accumulated money. So this is the period when his wealth will grow, he will become rich, he will have good resources. So this is the period, and professional success. Because Sun is there, Sun will give professional success. So the period that father is running right now, what do you say from that? He is running Sagittarius period. The first 1/3 will give the result of Moon, Rahu and Ketu. Sagittarius is Prishthadaya, Lord Jupiter is in Prishthadaya Rasi. So aspects, planet, Lord, and then finally the house. That is the order. So the results given by Moon, Rahu and Ketu as a result of their aspect on Sagittarius will be given during this period. So third house is the house of initiative, ventures, initiative, etc. And whatever Moon, Rahu and Ketu show in the chart, that will be given during this period. So this is a period of lot of initiative and also some worry. Moon and Rahu combination shows worry, and it can be some worry also. Worry relating to what? Relating to 10th house or 5th house. Rahu is the 5th lord, child, and Moon is the 10th lord, career. So either relating to career or relating to children, some worries. That's what Moon and Rahu show. So that could be given in this period. Also Ketu is affecting it. Ketu is the planet of spirituality. So this period is very good for spirituality of father also. Father will be very spiritual. His spirituality will increase during this period. So all those results are given in the first 1/3. The middle 1/3 will give the results of Lord Jupiter. So Jupiter is in the 10th house. So this is a good period for doing some Jupiterian karma for father. During this 1/3, father will do some Jupiterian karma. He will do some good things in the society, or he could help people, he could counsel people, he could teach. So all those kind of activities are possible. Jupiter kind of activities are possible during 2002 to 2005. So this is it. And also it is good for career in general. Jupiter in the 10th house is, it brings luck in career. Jupiter is the planet of luck. He is the Jiva. He is the planet of life. So this is a good period for father's career. But at the same time, he is the 3rd and 6th lord. 3rd and 6th lord in 10th house means lot of changes happening at the workplace. That is also possible. So these are various results that we can give for father. So like this, but the thing is, looking at Antardashas, giving fine readings is not very easy when you are looking at father's fortune. But you can directly, when you look at this, you can say, this is a very important period, 1990 to 2000, because this is a very important combination in the chart for father. During this period, his financial situation will improve a lot, significantly. If you compare 1990 and 2000, there will be a big difference in the financial situation of the father. That is basically what you can conclude. So like that you can give basic readings. Is there any period you should be concerned about father's health? 6th house has Moon and Rahu. If Moon and Rahu are in the 6th house, there can be some digestive problems or some problems. There can be some health complaints for the father. So when are they likely to give their results? When Moon Dasha or Rahu Dasha comes, or when Pisces Dasha comes. So when is Pisces Dasha coming? 2017. Actually even in Aquarius Dasha, because a lot of Aquarius is in 6th house, the results can be given. So after 2012, especially after 2017, father has to watch out for his health. Like this we can give various readings for father. Okay? Do you have any important event in the life of father? Do you know any important event after he was born? Like a promotion or...
Well, no, what you said is true, is that his career is...
career and flourish, basically.
Yeah, flourished.
Flourished during 1990 to 2000. But do you have any particular period? Any particular year or month when you know something important happened?
I know he has a promotion, but I don't know exactly.
Okay, then forget it. Okay.
I don't know the
Okay.
time.
Okay. Basically, what I was trying to say is you can do all this analysis in City Pravesh. When you look at the current year or any particular year's annual chart, you see if a particular year there was a promotion to father or he bought a house or something. Go to Jyothishya, look at the 9th house, take it as Lagna and see. Look at the Tithi Ashtopi Dasya. Even without Narayan Dasya, you should be able to get good results. But you can use Narayan.
2002.
2002?
Yeah, he left his, took retirement and went to the different job, which is promising in a career change. That's what he said, 2002 to 2004.
Why did I say that?
You said that changes will come.
Okay, I said because that is the period when Jupiter will give his results.
Right.
And Jupiter is 3rd and 6th lord. Third and 6th lord, basically functional military. When 3rd and 6th lord or 8th lord is in 10th house, it could show some changes
Sudden changes came
in the career. Yeah.
We didn't expect to let it go.
But it's a lucky period.
Right.
Overall, it's a lucky period. And it's also a period of lot of initiative because Sagittarius is the house of initiative, ventures, etc. He can, during this dasha, it's also auspicious for actually having a venture of his own, do something. Or if somebody is doing something, be with them. But some initiative, basically, he can show some initiative and get extra gains. This is a very good period because this is the 3rd house and the Lord is in the 10th house. So like this, you can look at this D12 Narayan Dasya. This shows what happens to father. If you want to see what happens to mother, take the 4th house, right? And if you use the default, if you don't do any change in the start Dasha sign, if you just say use the default here, that one shows the relationship with the parents. The give and take relationship between you and your parents. That's what it shows. So there are various Narayan Dashas. You can use the right one to see the right kind of results.
The last one, you take the default, you can
In the options, if you say use the default,
okay.
then what it will do is for D12 Narayan Dasha, it uses the 12th Lord as the seed. For D10 Narayan Dasha, it uses 10th Lord. So the seed is automatically found based on DN. For DN, it is the nth Lord. So the purpose of this Narayan Dasha, D12 Narayan Dasha, is parental relations. Okay. So we have gone too long today. So with that, I will end. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.